All right, Peter, you've been doing great so far. Just some layup questions ahead, and let's bring this home.
I think you would prefer the human race to endure, right?
No way.
You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes?
I don't know. I would.
Yeah, yes. The answer is yes.
This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit
Should
in this.
the human race survive?
Yes. The only answer is yes.
Yes.
Great.
But
fuck.
I also would like us to radically solve these problems.
Right.
And so, you know,
what is he talking about?
Yeah, transhumanism. Human natural body gets transformed into an immortal body. And there's a critique of, let's say, the trans people in a sexual context, or I don't know, transvestite is someone who changes their clothes and cross dresses. We want more than cross dressing or changing your sex organs. We want you to be able to change your heart and change your mind, your whole body. And then Orthodox Christianity.
Things are going to get a little bit blunt in this video. So if you can't handle a hard dose of reality, there are many channels out there and are maintained and operated by people who claim to have been quote-unquote red-pilled since about 2023 or so. But this is all going somewhere, so let's just take the ride. People like Michio Kaku are not bright. He's not a thinker. He's a propagandist. Plain and simple. He's paid for, just like Neil deGrasse Tyson and the rest of these jerk-offs who LARP as geniuses to spout their garbage as if we're all completely vapid morons. Do not look up to this person. Do not teach your children to look up to this person. Do not buy the idea that all the super geniuses think like this guy or Neil deGrasse Tyson, because the truth is many of the real scientists out there hate it. But if they speak out about it, they are essentially committing career suicide. So let's learn about Michio's unique outlook on life and allow him to destroy himself with his own words.
The first trend is toward what we call a type 1 civilization, a planetary civilization. A civilization that resembles something out of Buck Rogers or Flash Gordon. A type 2 civilization is stellar. They consume so much energy, they can play with stars.
A Trekkie with Trekkie logic, who believes that an advanced civilization is also dumb enough to play with stars.
That's, for example, the Federation of Planets in Star Trek. Star Trek would represent a typical type 2 civilization. We get our energy from dead plants, oil and coal.
Oh, we get our energy from dead plants, not because we're unevolved, but because dynasties have been built off oil and coal, jackass. And we've been restrained by those who have controlled the quote-unquote free market for centuries. And any other successful form of energy has found the inventor suicided and the technology shelved for future members of the In Club to profit from in the future. You absolute nitwit jack-off.
The danger period is now, because we still have the savagery. We still have all the passions. We have all the sectarian fundamentalist ideas circulating around, but we also have nuclear weapons.
So what Kaku is saying there is, since people are still religious and our hormones haven't been completely wiped out by GMOs, chemicals, and estrogen mimickers, we still pose a threat to the world. Kind of weird timing for all these sexually confused kids to be showing up on the map right now. Right, Kaku? Curious that you propagandists are always so interested in the things that become reality at the exact same time, just by chance.
We have chemical, biological weapons capable of wiping out life on Earth. And what is the European Union? The European Union is the beginning of a type 1 economy.
Oh my God, dude. Our dear super genius just has to throw in his idea that the European Union is the sign of an advanced society when it's the exact opposite. It's a sign of global control. Nothing that this jackass tries to sell you is based in reality. And this is supposed to be a super genius.
Youth music is now planetary, knows no boundaries around the planet Earth.
So you hear this music everywhere, dude, because it's spoon-fed to the people. And the message degenerates. No one is this stupid. He has to know what he's doing. He absolutely has to.
Everywhere I go, I see high fashion. Chanel, Gucci bags. We're witnessing the birth of a planetary fashion.
Planetary fashion. Chanel and Gucci bags are not a sign of an advancing society, dude. They're a sign of a degenerate, sickly, materialistic society where people will live in a ghetto-ass apartment, but they will rent a $50,000 car. You retard.
Also sports. Take a look at the Olympics. Take a look at soccer. We're seeing the beginning of a tribal initiation rite called sports.
Oh my God,
being turned
dude.
into a planetary initiation rite.
No, sports were real back in the caveman days. Or when a city would play another city, and the people that were playing each other were actually from that city, right? So like a city like Chicago could tell a city like Green Bay that they were better than those guys. Sports is nothing but a diversionary tactic to keep stupid people occupied and trained and entertained. And no one with an IQ above 125 is going to believe that it's some unifying factor. They make money and they keep people occupied.
That unifies the entire planet. Whenever I open the newspaper, every headline I see in the newspaper points to the birth pangs of a type 1 civilization in formation. However, every time I open the newspaper, I also see the opposite trend as well.
Because the newspapers really reflect what's going on, right, dude? Good Lord. See, the propagandist does not tell the key piece of information, and that is, the key piece of information is that propaganda shows you the world how they want it to be, not how the world is currently structured. Propaganda is their dream. Always remember that. This guy is absolutely, totally fucking insane.
I also see the opposite trend as well. What is terrorism? Terrorism, in some sense, is a reaction against the creation of a type 1 civilization.
Oh my God,
Now,
dude. Nice dance you did around that one to make it fit into your narrative. This was written for this dickbag to recite back to the people because people are dumb enough to see this guy as a quote-unquote authority.
most terrorists cannot articulate this. They don't even know what the hell I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, because it's so totally deep what he's talking about. Yeah, terrorist can't get it.
What we're reacting to is the fact that we're headed toward a multicultural, tolerant, scientific society.
Dude, tolerance has been forced. Compliance to tolerance has been forced. The Zoomers get that. And for the record, science is at the worst it's ever been in history since the Einstein terror. Committee ran science, peer-reviewed bullshit. And if you tell the truth, you get your funding yanked and you go down broke and unemployable. Nothing that this douchebag says is factual. Nothing.
And that's what they don't want. They don't want science. They want a theocracy.
That's fucking insane, dude. Most of these people out there who are against the one world government that you are praising, they don't hate other people or want to stop science. In fact, they just want to be left alone and they don't want to participate in your degenerate activities or have it shoved down their throats. You fucking snake oil salesman.
They don't want science. They want a theocracy.
Nothing he's talked about has been science at all.
We look for signs
Propaganda.
of intelligent life in outer space. So far we find none, but only a few of them make it to type 1. Because that society, for the first time in its history, has the ability to commit planetary suicide.
None of this is the case. And let me tell you why the tools for planetary suicide, as Kaku calls it, even exist. These weapons, whether they be nuclear, biological, etc., were developed by a very small group of people. And the reason that these people weren't curbed right away for even bringing up the idea in the first place was because these people caught the average decent people at a weak point in history. Let's say World War II or the Cold War, a time for fear porn, and they scare them into allowing them to create these weapons. You know, dude, they've got them. Russia's doing it. We need to do it. And then they do the same thing to Russia. They're manipulated. when these people should have been curbed as soon as they brought it up under normal circumstances. Michio Kaku LARPing as a super genius so that he can feed you propaganda and talking points. But the real goal? To demonize you, humanity. That's the point, to demonize you. Now, if you don't get this within the first few minutes, remember that you have fingers. You found this video, so you can research on your own as well. You can do that a lot. The whole thing is holding up the football for a doom kick. People like Kaku, his cohorts, past and present, have been claiming that we're heading towards extinction for decades. 100 years if you look back. And what is their main crutch to fall back on? That man has done nature dirty. Man has created an environmental hellscape for humans and the animal kingdom in general by subjecting the earth to industrialization, poisons, pollution, heavy metals, aerosols, forever chemicals, and just about anything else that you can imagine. But that isn't the case at all. Not at all. The truth is, if you look around at your family, loved ones, friends, and peers, no one is involved in this. The reality is, you don't know anyone that has industrialized a damn thing. The answer is a solid zero, because each one of us knows hundreds or thousands of people who have been forced to use chemically stupid ways of drinking water or beverages, eating food, consuming goods, driving cars, some with giant lithium batteries, and the list goes on and on and on. And if you don't have a place like Chicago or New York that has mass transit, you can't exist without a car. You have to have a car. You have to eat. They've killed off the farmer. They've made it almost impossible for the average person to attain food or drinkable water that doesn't come in some disgusting plastic container. The exact things that they claim are killing off the planet, but you didn't pick them. Someone like Bill Gates did. Then these people have the unflinching gall to point the finger at you. It's man who's doing it. It's man. Factories exist to pump out products in huge numbers as quickly as possible. Milk and other drinks used to come in glass. All of it came in glass. Glass is just sand. Sand that is melted down and turned into something useful. Everything used to come in glass containers, including soda or pop, depending on where you come from. But suddenly, everything was switched to plastic. The very thing you, as humans, are villainized for now. Show me where the masses made the earth-killing move to switch to plastic. Show me the date where this was voted on by the people. It didn't happen. People like Bill Gates did it. And when I say that, I mean a group of about 50 or 75 people that make all the decisions that affects our lives, our children's lives, and affects the planet that we live on. Remember these images that we used to get force-fed all the time? Bitching about people using can and bottle carriers, right? Who brought that into reality? We didn't. They did, giving us something that they could then blame on us for using later. That's what it's all about. They feed these kind of inventions to the public at large, quote-unquote educating them, as they call it, normalizing it. Then, as soon as you play into the game, you're at fault for killing Mother Earth. But when these technologies were rolled out, these small little inventions, these things are always hailed as a technological marvel. It's a trap by design. And no one is driving us towards extinction except for about 50 to 75 people. And that's the cold, hard truth. It has nothing to do with us. When someone tells you that there is a war on carbon and carbon footprints, that means you, dumbass. And the truth is that the plants and the trees should be loving any carbon monoxide put into the atmosphere. So how are we fighting the war on fossil fuels? By mining and taking over anywhere with high lithium deposits. And how do we find these lithium deposits? With the very technology that I've been going on about on this channel for well over a decade, Earth tomography. And the fact is, without lithium, people like Bill Gates and Peter Thiel, they have zero future. Their business would crumble. Profit and control. Where was the vote to go electric? There wasn't one. In fact, any life-changing technology, including 5G, is just shoved in your face without even so much as a rational discussion on the possible implications. Bam! There it is. Deal with it. Then after 10 years of watching trees, plants, and wildlife die from the 5G or 4G signals, you're going to be hearing about how you, the consumer, are responsible for killing the planet, and people fall for it every single time. Where was the vote to drive the farmers out of business and take over the food supply? There wasn't one. Laws were passed, and their attack dogs are then sent in to clean up whatever they view as disruptive to their plans, while finding a way to blame it on you. And that's what it always comes down to. The same small circle of people keep making the same asinine, counterproductive, and destructive decisions for the masses, intentionally, just to turn around, point their finger, and villainize the people. It's bullshit. It is forced on us. And if you don't like it, you don't have to eat food or drink liquid. See how long that lasts. When did we vote on eating meat that is so pumped full of chemicals, GMOs, vaccines, and antibiotics that a larger percentage of the population begin believing that they're a person of the opposite sex trapped in their body? Or stop caring about the opposite sex entirely? We didn't vote on it. It was forced on us. And not one common man that you know had anything to do with that decision making. The same circle of people made that choice. The same people who point their finger and claim we are destroying the planet are part of the small group of people who actually are destroying the planet. Remember the straw trip from a few years ago? These people had the balls to claim that your straws were killing Mother Earth after like 80 years of using, modern straws, when the truth probably is some paper lobbyist paid a bunch of money so that they could make paper straws. And do what? Point the finger at you for killing Mother Earth. That lasted maybe a year at these places before we went right back to plastic, but still villainizing all of you, when the truth is, straws could have been turned into something that you keep and maintain, like a dish. It's easy. Kids could deal with a wooden straw, wash it, dry it, use it again, or a plastic straw that you buy once, but that doesn't sell big numbers. It would be a one-time buy. So who's destroying the planet? You or one of these 50 to 75 scumbags who claim that you are killing Captain Planet while making millions of straws every week? Back in the 1980s, propaganda science found an alleged hole in the ozone layer, not realizing that there are probably all kinds of changing areas of the atmosphere, right? And it seemed like 5 minutes later, they had figured out what had caused this hole in the ozone layer. Somehow, with no valid testing, it was you, with your hairspray and other aerosol cans. Bam! But you didn't create aerosol cans. They did, and they forced it on the population. Was there a vote to go aerosol? But again, the people are the villain every single time. None of this is stupidity. None of it is incompetence. It's intentional and part of the plan. Suddenly, out of nowhere, birds and other animals with magnetite in their brains, which operates as a compass, are simply hitting the ground, dead. Whales are beaching themselves. Whales also operate with ELF frequencies. Odd, right? For the first time in history, this is all happening to animals. And guess what? Since they can't blame it on you, the people, immediately, like a hole in the ozone layer, they simply can't find a reason for it and try to sell it off to you as some sort of paranormal event or some mystery, right? Even though these events coincide with the exact same time in history that these people are using RF waves and ELF waves for nefarious reasons in covert communications. It's curious, don't you think? Some of you may remember the Earth Day. Now every day is Earth Day. Fuck. Earth Day. The same people promoting this were the same people kicking out plastic milk jugs, soda bottles, shaming you for driving what they forced on the people, and basically demonizing the entire human race. All for what about 50 to 75 people chose to implement. This started off as global warming, but when the weather didn't keep actually getting hotter, they had to back up, retreat, and rename it to climate change. All climates change, always. Over time, there are ice ages, mini ice ages. They're just betting on the fact that you won't look into it too deeply or won't look at the recorded history that we have of perfectly natural, quote-unquote, climate change. And what's the motivation? To demonize you, like every other one of these ops, for using the tools that you were forced to use to participate in this system. You could try to blame this all on small businesses, the little guy, right? But that isn't how this works. That's what is referred to as a straw man or a false narrative. Small business has to follow the big guy, and the big guys make the decisions. So, for example, if some small business happened to be making cast iron parts for cars in 2026, the business would last about 3 weeks before going under. They have to follow the plan. So if the small business makes parts out of plastic, well, then the money starts rolling in. But either way, small business has zero control over this. They follow the big fish. They have to. They pay their influencers to blame you for charging your lithium battery-powered phone that they mass-produced. They blame you for driving your car or even flushing your toilet, all while selling you toilets, all while they fly around doing environmentally toxic cocaine on private jets. The entire hypocrisy is utterly ridiculous, and even a kindergartner can see through it. The only purpose of every single one of these optic psyops is to demonize humanity while pulling attention away from the small group of people who are actually doing it. And that's what they do. These ridiculous creatures, they point their finger at one ridiculous focal point every couple of years. Can and bottle carriers, those plastic rings, plastic bottles themselves, straws, holes in the ozone layer. It's no different than how they seem to feed people one single word to their lexicon every few years. And coincidentally, every single word that is spoon-fed to the public over recent times is based in psychiatry. Isn't that a bizarre fact? Let's quickly go over them for the hell of it. Enabler, sociopath, narcissist, gaslighter or gaslighting. Every new word that these people learn, it's based in psychiatry somewhere. It's just bizarre. Every word describes with pinpoint accuracy what the media and the powers that be have done to the people. But that's not why they're teaching them to the average person when handing them out every couple of years. It's designed for the people to use to demonize themselves after their minds have been completely warped and subverted by a system that has enabled them to make bad decisions. Turn them into sociopaths, creating generations of narcissists, taking selfies, and gaslighting every person who sees the system for what it's really doing and what it really is. But now that the demonization of humanity has really sunk in, why not just give the people enough words and education to attack themselves, right? With their ridiculous and fraudulent psychiatric terms and phrases. The circle is complete. The media and powers that be talking to people about man-made climate change is just a silly game of optics. And anyone over the age of 30 or 35 can at least remember a few days when we didn't have planes dumping aluminum, barium, and other heavy metals, chemicals, and agents in the sky. If you really can't remember a time when this didn't exist on a daily basis, you're suffering from false memory syndrome. And that's just the cold hard truth. So stop it. The longer we allow this small group of people to talk about human extinction, the longer we're giving them consent to continue, while these same people play with bioweapons, chemical agents, and DNA-modifying shots. It's not the masses doing this. No one you know is making any of these decisions. No one. It's a small group. It's always been a small group, and it will always be a small group. Stop allowing them to spew their villainizing hatred on humanity while they do everything to destroy it. It's sickening, and it needs to end right now.
All right, Peter, you've been doing great so far. Just some layup questions ahead, and let's bring this home.
I think you would prefer the human race to endure, right?
No way.
You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes?
I don't know. I would.
Yeah, yes. The answer is yes.
This is a long hesitation. This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit in this.
Should the human race survive?
Yes. The only answer is yes.
Yes.
Great.
But
fuck.
I also would like us to radically solve these problems.
Right.
And so, you know,
what is he talking about?
Yeah, transhumanism. Human natural body gets transformed into an immortal body. And there's a critique of, let's say, the trans people in a sexual context, or I don't know, transvestite is someone who changes their clothes and cross dresses. We want more than cross dressing or changing your sex organs. We want you to be able to change your heart and change your mind, your whole body. And then Orthodox Christianity